Hey, boys and girls. Today, our focus is going to be on Chapter 10, Growth and Expansion. Your check-in question on this day is: Wisconsin produces the most cheese of any state. California is a close second. Who is third? Idaho, New York, New Mexico, or Minnesota? Tuesday's answer you can see clearly in this little map, this little red guy here. If you said Massachusetts, you are correct. Let's go on to daily news. On Thursday, you had one major task and one optional task. Your first job was to finish your Chapter 9 Jefferson-era Flipgrid project. The optional task was to begin Chapter 10 Growth and Expansion to kind of ease your way a little bit into Chapter 10 and have an easier Friday or today. Recall that I started hosting Google Meetings to help out. These usually last about a half hour. This will continue next week from 9:30 to 10 o'clock. That'll be my typical time, and it'll happen a couple times per week. Please look for these and the times and links in updates. Today, your job is to begin Chapter 10, Growth and Expansion, especially Lesson 10.1, which is Economic Growth. You see, during the late 1700s and early 1800s, America began to change into a booming industry, making their own goods, rapidly expanding production, and your job is to learn how that happened. 4 key questions throughout this lesson. How did geography lead to American dominance in industry? Free enterprise changed America. What are the 4 ingredients of that? Name several people who invented things to help America grow during the early 1800s. And cities grew. What were some advantages and disadvantages to that? Here's a few intro pictures that might help you understand what was going on. I know these maps are a little bit dated, a little bit farther along than we want because we're right around 1800 to 1820, but we can see that city population was very, very low. The population was really spread out across America in the 13 states right here. Okay, so there weren't a lot of big cities like we see today in the United States. New York was pretty small, had less than 250,000 people. And the other big ones, Baltimore, Boston, Richmond, Virginia, they weren't very big either. They were like 50 to 100,000. But as our industry grew and took off, and these inventions changed America and increased our production, and people found they didn't just have to farm, they started moving to cities. And we see this population explosion. All right. So we have our first cities reaching 1 million people and beyond. Some of the key cool things that were invented and happened in the early 1800s include these things: Cyrus McCormick's Reaper, the Erie Canal opened, the Lowell Factory Mill, and Robert Fulton's steamboat, among other things. Your task today, 2 things. 10.1 reading and 4 questions. I've included my audio file so you can listen to me read if you want, but I've given you the PDF file to Chapter 10. It should be viewable. Let me know if it doesn't work via email. But I want you to look for the geography. What in the geography made New England, these states here, perfect? And I mean perfect for industry. Eli Whitney. This guy had 2 key inventions that would increase production in America. What were they? Lowell Mill. The first factory life began in the early 1800s right here. And if I'm remembering correctly, it was in Massachusetts. See and listen to how that changed things for women specifically. Last 2 parts. If you need help with your Chapter 9 project, just email me. We'll set up a time so we can have a Google Meet and discuss what you can do better or what you can change. Your 2-part assignment is right here. 10.1 can be found in the Chapter 10 folder in Schoology. Economic growth reading should take about 10 minutes total. And then you have an economic choice video on the growth of America. First is Eli Whitney. The second is the Lowell Mill girls. Let's take a peek very quickly. Okay. As you can see in the 10.1 reading, I have the audio file right here for your access and for your pleasure if you would like, and then the Chapter 10 PDF. If I jump back real quick, I can see that I have a choice in 2 video tasks. All right, Eli Whitney or the Lowell Mill girls. There's a set of questions for each video. Good luck. I'll catch you on